evening and welcome to Let's Talk Shop with Russ. Merry Christmas. It ain't gonna be too much longer for it to be that way. Matter of fact, it'll be that way. What is it? Christmas Friday, next Friday. So yeah, it's right around the corner here. So, but hope to have a good show. We got Darryl Jones on here tonight. We're going to be talking to him, and we already got a bunch of people out there in the chat. Rick St. Louis, Y.M. Mitchell. Barry Lloyd, let's see who else. Ken McCroy out there. How come it won't let me scroll but so bad? Oh, there we go. Dan Inge from Dan Inge Woodworking. Aussie Man's out there. A lot of people are already out there. So Frenzy Wicked Truth, she's out there. Good to have
a
all.
Girl with no name.
Where's that come from?
She's from Twitch. Actually, she's also on Facebook, I believe.
Yes, that is.
So, yeah, she's on both, if I'm not mistaken. So, but yeah, we'll be talking to Darryl and picking his brain and finding out what he's been doing and been up to. But before we go any further, first off, let me talk about my wonderful sponsors, and they are Devobal Technologies for web design, development, hosting. Go to devobal.com. FastCap, innovative product for professional woodworker. Go to fastcap.com. Rockler, 60 years in woodworking. Create with confidence. Visit rockler.com. Bearwood Supply Company, your best choice to hard-to-find woodworking supplies. Go to bearwood.com. Klingspor, the sanding specialist. Woodworkingshop.com. Seiko, the scroll saw specialist. Seiko.com. And Scrollnado Desk Collection for your scroll saw. You can find them on Amazon. And don't forget to go ahead and give me a thumbs up. All right.
Did you do that on the scroll saw?
Yeah, I did that on the scroll saw. Give me a thumbs up. Yep. And don't forget to subscribe.
Oh, there you go.
Okay? Don't forget to subscribe. And also hit that bell up top and you'll get notification when we're having a show. So don't forget to do those things.
Russ takes that thumbs up with him in case his truck breaks down on the highway.
Yeah.
That's right.
And he can hold it.
No,
sideways.
actually it's to put up your, never mind.
Oh my goodness.
You know, Russ, you should just get you an old train set or something and set it up across your screen and have it go by.
Yeah.
That's
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea. Take it off the tree after Christmas is over.
Yeah. Actually, it's something pretty cool. I posted a video on Facebook if y'all haven't seen it already. I bought 3 years ago, a train that actually goes on the tree. It actually runs around the tree.
Yeah.
So I've got it up about, it's about eye level with me, high enough that the little ones can't get a hold of it or whatever, but it locks onto the trunk of the tree on the interior and it has arms that come out. So it's actually limited as to where you can put it. I mean, you got to put it toward the top because it won't fit down at the bottom because the arms aren't long enough. But anyway, it's pretty cool. It runs around that track around the top of the tree, and it's pretty. My Eli, our one grandson, he will stand there and watch that sucker for 30 minutes, just solid, not even move.
Well, I bet.
I mean, it's like he's just fascinated by it. So.
Makes it easy to babysit him.
Yep.
You got to
first off, let's go ahead and tell us where we can find everybody. And Darryl, you'll go last naturally because you're the guest. But Paul.
Hey, Paul Corliss, Paul's Messy Workshop. You can find me here on Saturday night. You can find me on YouTube and on Instagram. And I guess that's it. Thanks for having me on, Russ.
You're welcome. Chris.
Again, Chris here from the Old Cranky Workshop. You'll find me Facebook, YouTube, here on Saturday nights next to Paul, and also on the sun-filled shores of Southwest Florida now. Supposed to have the video coming out this week, but I got lazy and didn't do any editing. So hopefully next week.
Cool. Jim.
Hi, Jim Bashir's Driveway Workshop, and I'm here with my 3 Christmas buddies, my Holly Davis snowman, and my 2 gnomes that my wife made me.
Nice.
They're my Christmas decorations.
Cool.
Anxiously awaiting to see what Darryl's doing. I love watching Darryl.
Yep. Dixon.
Yes, should be a good show. Hi, I'm Dixon Hoffman. You can find me at Hoffman Signs and Decals.com and on Facebook.
And last but not least, Mr. Al.
I'm Al Forte, Kilroy 79763, and I'm here with some pie. I got me some raspberry pie, and I'm working on making a retro cabinet for to play games. But anyway, Kilroy 79763 all over the place. Go find me out there, Kilroy 79763. Kind of like that right there.
79.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Should have used 8675309.
8675309.
Jenny.
Anyway, Jenny, I got your number. Two
You know what?
things
None
real
of us
quick.
can sing in here, so let's move on.
Hey, speak for yourself. Two things real quick.
You're right, Jim.
Last week I was out. I was sick as a dog last week. I had an allergic reaction to medication. So there was just no way I could do the show. Sorry about that. Second thing is Brenda is sick. That's the reason she's not on tonight. She's really, really sick. She's been having chills, fever. I'm not sure exactly what's wrong with her, but I know that I've been message PMing her. I'll get it right in a minute on Facebook, and she regrets that she couldn't be here tonight. Actually, she said that tell everybody that Santa needed a cowbell ringer to ward off the when he delivered presents, so he hired her. So I don't know how.
More cowbell.
Yep, I don't know how the truth to that is, but anyway, but she's very sick. So if you keep her in your thoughts and prayers, because she loves being here. Trust me. And actually, she missed her own show Thursday night, so that tells you she is really sick when she misses her own show. So, but yeah,
I won this from her.
You what?
You see this shirt?
Yeah, and I got to get with you. I was sick and I forgot. I got to get your. Matter of fact, I was going to ask you about that. Do you have PayPal?
Well, certainly, sir.
Okay. Well, we're not worried. I got anyway. I got to get you that gift card.
Okay. All right.
I'd forgotten about it. I'd forgotten about it due to the fact I was sick. Kind of slipped my mind.
I was just saying that I got this awesome T-shirt.
I know, but you can't see it.
It's camouflage.
Shirt.
It's blended right in.
It's like the Harry Potter cloak.
Yes, exactly. It's the cloak of invisibility.
Yeah, it's the cloak of invisibility. You can't see Al. Man, wouldn't you give anything to have one of those cloaks for in real life though?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would be. I got a bunch of people I know I'd mess with.
Why doesn't that surprise
sir.
me?
Yes, sir. I got a bunch of people.
I think 6 of them are right here on this.
I do believe you're right.
Yep. All right. So we got Darryl. Darryl, how you doing?
Doing good. Thanks
Tell
for
us
having
where
me
we can
on.
find you.
So I'm Darryl from Dreadnought Woodshop. You can find me everywhere as Dreadnought Woodshop, YouTube, Instagram, Tangy, Twitter, TikTok, the usual assortment. You can also find me on Wednesdays, most Wednesdays, 7:30. I do it live. That's something new I've been doing.
Cool.
Yeah. And, you can always find me on Instagram, even when I'm hiding from YouTube.
Now, when you do your live, is it strictly on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow, I got to put the bell on for that one.
I know. I got to go there and do the bell.
I'm gonna do that now.
He told me that the other day, and I haven't done it. But yeah, I mean, I'm really envious when I look at that picture and see that wall behind you. I'm really envious.
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, you need to come over here and do that to my shop.
Okay, so
What are we doing wrong?
yeah. The secret is maybe it's a green screen.
No, I don't think that's a green screen. I don't think that, because I've watched some of your stuff and your videos when you were actually building some of that stuff, and I was like, I wonder what it looks like on the wall. Well, now I know.
Yeah. Yeah, I made a real solid effort lately to get some organization in here because I got a new CNC, which I haven't really shared online yet, but I got a new CNC and it takes up a footprint of 6 foot by 6 foot. So some changes had to be made rather abruptly. So
What kind of CNC did you get, Darryl?
It's a Forest Scientific, which is they build custom CNCs for schools and maker spaces. But it's all right. I'm gonna try to get this right. A closed server loop system with pinion drive, rack and pinion drives. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of stuff. I just happened to get a good deal on it. It was a surplus deal, and so I was able to pick it up for a really, really nice price.
Yeah.
It's got rack and pinion. Does it have pinstripes on it too?
I took those off. It was a little too great for me.
Well, usually with rack and pinion, though, you have nice rims and wheels too.
Yeah.
So,
Yes,
On a full
definitely.
3.25 horsepower.
Have
spindle.
you?
Good stuff.
How much? A 3/4 horsepower?
3.25. Yeah.
Wow, 3 1/4.
Yeah.
Yeah, that will
a nice
definitely
one.
cut through some stuff. Let me tell
Rack,
you. Without any
rack and
problem.
pinion is good. No backlash.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
what mine is.
Now, its footprint is 6 foot by 6 foot, but what will it actually cut?
50. It's something like 54 by 54.
Okay, 54 by 54.
So
That's
the
still
company, it's sold as a 4x4, but this company, they always add several inches in each direction to make
Right.
sure that you can guarantee get the stated to get us, to cut a piece the stated size. Like a lot of companies, they make a 4x4, but then you got to take off some for the rails or whatever. But this company, they make them extra wide and extra long to make sure that you can definitely cut the stated size.
right. Now, what kind of software does it take to run that?
So it was a little bit of a hassle because it's not easy to come by. But I had to get a hold of somebody at the company to get the CAM software for it. It's Velocity 3D or something like that. And then they also provided the post processor for Vectric. Yeah,
That's good. That's good stuff right there. That's good
Yeah.
stuff.
and I'm
Have you-
using. Well, I say using, but I really haven't. I got a number of things that have changed since the last time I talked to you guys, and I haven't had time to really play with it. But today's the first day of our winter break at the school board, so the next 2 weeks I'm going to be digging into Aspire.
Aspire, yeah.
Yeah.
That is a fantastic and powerful program.
Yeah.
Yeah, I it took me. I had to watch a lot of videos and on people, and Mark Lindsay has a lot of videos out on Aspire, and he does a real good job.
Yeah, he does.
Walking you through some stuff. So I watched some of his videos and some other videos to learn. Actually, I watched some of the actual Aspire videos that they produce out, and that helped a lot. But yeah, that's a powerful program, man.
Now, what's the advantage of Aspire over VCarve Pro?
It does 3D. It does full 3D
okay.
carving.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can, as I understand it, okay, I'm no pro at it yet, but you can use the ball nose mills or bits or whatever you call it, and you can do actual 3D carving.
Yes.
Where VCarve is more like you can use like a 90 degree, like a V bit, and it can it'll adjust the height. Like say you want to make the stars on a flag, so instead of it just plunging down and making the star, it can come down and then move up to create those fine points. Which is VCarve is like, what is it, 2.5D? It's considered
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
versus 3D, but Aspire is full on 3D.
Right.
Yeah.
You can do some of the 3D CAD work on it inside of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, really, really nice. Have you fired it off and made anything or done anything with it yet?
The only thing I've actually completed was some photo prop for my niece. She wanted some giant letters for her baby to take pictures with. And the other project that I'm working on is a dust boot for the system. I've made a few cuts to get a couple of the dimensions right and some scrap material, but I have some 1/2-inch acrylic that I'm going to be cutting the actual dust boot out of, and I'm going to make it magnetic with registration pins so that I can put the brushes on and take the brushes off.
Yeah.
So I think that's the. Oh, actually, you know what? That's not true. I also made made a file for a wedgie sled.
Oh yeah. I think you told me you were making those.
Yeah.
A what slide?
A wedgie sled.
From doing segmented
Yeah.
pieces.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I'm
wedgie
sorry.
sled.
Yeah.
Yes, a wedgie sled. It's for doing segmentation.
Yeah, it took me a second too but yeah, I understand.
See, I
It's like
already have a
you
wedgie
can't-
sled that I made years ago, but I have a couple of friends that want to try it. So they had asked me if I would make them a wedgie sled. And, you know, one thing, I had an X-Carve before. Well, I still have it. I have an X-Carve also. But it took an hour. It took an hour and 40 minutes to cut out the wedgie sled parts on the X-Carve. It takes 12 minutes on the CNC.
Yeah.
And it's mostly Vectric. It's mostly the difference in software, I think.
Well, it's that, but the X-Carve is very underpowered compared to a real CNC.
Yeah.
Well, CNC, you don't want.
I know you guys say that, but I've been using the X-Carve for the last 7 years, and don't get me wrong, the ShopBot is really what I want, but the X-Carve has really been working for me. Now, would I buy another X-Carve? Probably not, but it does what needs to be done.
I'm not saying it doesn't work. That's not my point, but it is very limited. All right. Compare the X-Carve as a Volkswagen to a Porsche.
Yeah, but you can still drive in the Volkswagen.
And you can still make things, just like he said. He went from an hour and something to 15 minutes. So
and that's true. The time you got to take your time with it.
Yeah, it's the feed rates. Yep.
So it's actually, in my case, it wasn't. Well, I made it out of HDPE, so it wasn't so much the feed rate. I mean, that's part of it, but the bigger problem was the X-Carve. I couldn't figure out how to make certain cuts directly, so I had to go. So there are times in the process where it was cutting empty space where it had been that material had been cut from a different process, but there was no way to eliminate those tool paths using the easel software.
Right.
So you just don't have as much control.
Exactly. Easel is bare minimum, in fact.
Right.
Yeah.
But with Aspire, the thing I love about it is I got total control. I can, I can actually make two tool paths, as you know. I can make two tool paths, and I don't have to do any excess cutting. I can just do the cutting I want. That's it. And that is the time savings that I'm actually talking about, more so than just the power.
Right. Hey, Darryl, were you the one that had the bundles of V-Carve that sold them a while back? Because I purchased a copy of V-Carve. Somebody had some bundles. I don't remember who it was, but sold them. And I started using V-Carve and kind of went back. Actually, went to Fusion 360. But I just wondered if it was you. But anyway.
No, I haven't done. To be honest, I haven't done a whole lot with CNC because I kept running into hangups with the software, with the easel software, and I don't know. I didn't have an application. I didn't have the kind of application for it that I would have liked to have had. So at the time, but with this one, there's so many other opportunities available here, just immediately based on the difference in size of material I can work on and the kind of operations I can do now, having a 3 1/4 horse spindle available. So I have some ideas. Really what I want to use it for is cutting down some of the time on furniture making.
Darryl, are you anticipating like using it for stuff like Frank Howarth does? He cuts out little you know, these drugs are killing me. Inserts and stuff that you put in bowls before he turns them and stuff like that. Have you thought about kind of marrying it up with your lathe like he does? Or
Yeah,
you just said furniture building, but
actually, I've already done some of that. I did some of that with the X-Carve as well. But yeah, I do. I have, in fact, the pocket inlay technique, where I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. You cut your recess and then you cut the reverse in a contrasting wood, glue them together and then level it. I'm actually, I have some thoughts. I have some thoughts in place about some of that kind of thing for combining that with my wood turning. So I got a lot of ideas because I'm not looking to go full on, like abandon everything else and then just, rush over to CNC. My idea is to bring all these things together because I'm constantly looking at different ways to bring more variety of media and techniques into my basic body of work.
It's another tool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something else.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I kind of hate that I missed out. I was supposed to, Russ had invited me a couple weeks ago to be a part of the show, and you guys were talking about lasers. I kind of hate that I missed that because
we can do it again.
I've gone down back in February. It's February or March. I bought one of the Chinese Red Steel X700 clone lasers. And man, I've been making all manner of things with that thing.
Nice.
Yeah. Those things are
so I got it. How many watts is it?
Here we go again.
Here we go.
Well, is that a blue laser or is it a CO2 tube?
It's a CO2.
Yeah, you got the bigger one. And you got like a 40 or 60 or 70 watt.
Yeah.
CO2 laser. Yep. Them are nice.
Yeah.
Hey, David's here.
Yeah, and I've been using I've actually gotten pretty comfortable with Lightburn.
Yep.
The software Lightburn. That's excellent software. I appreciate it, but I do not understand how the guy who put that together can offer that for $80. I'm not encouraging to raise the price, but I mean it's incredible software for the money.
Did you have to change a controller board in your laser for that?
No,
I want to go to that.
I made sure I bought one that had a Ruida controller.
Yep.
So it works it worked right out of the crate.
Yeah, that's top of the line controller. Yep.
Yeah.
Especially with Lightburn, that's the king.
Yeah, everybody has their experiences with things, but I've been very happy with it. It's far exceeded in my expectations so far. And like I said, I've had it since February. So, and I've made all kinds of things with it. I've made signs, I've made tools, I've made jigs. I started engraving my signature on the bottom of my turnings because I can lower the bed almost 10 inches underneath the laser head.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pain in the butt because I don't have the motorized Z-axis for the table height, which is something I'm considering. I'm considering either making like a handle an extension handle that I can put a big doohickey on to make it easier, or adding another stepper motor and set up a switch so that I can control it.
I know a guy that uses jack stands on his.
Right?
1 second here. We got iRescue Mini Pins over on Twitch watching us, and she said,
"Hello, Sid.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening." David Jones from Portal Woodworks is in the house. Good evening, David. How are you? Just going back through here. Jimbo wants to know if Florida's going to beat Alabama tonight. I have no clue. Those are two teams. When they get together, anything can happen. So I'm hoping we'll beat their butts, but we'll wait and see. Aussie Man wants to know, can we see some of your turnings?
I have that thing, Dixon.
Yeah, that's what I have on my 40 watt just for now. Is that little
James wants to know, Al, and you know how to do this. If you will put up Darryl's web YouTube channel.
Yeah, I did, but I'll do it again.
Yeah, and remind people that he's on Wednesday nights on YouTube also.
Yeah, he's on Wednesday night on YouTube with a live.
Russ, you want me to grab some turnings to bring? Because I could do that while you finish making your announcements.
Oh,
yeah,
please.
Go ahead.
Okay.
If you don't mind. Obviously, they're interested in them.
Okay. There you go. There it is. Yes,
Aussie
please.
Man says, love your videos, Darryl. Watch them all the time. So, yeah.
Hey, Russ, when you show his work, can you make Darryl full screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't mean to harp on it, but if you put that note about Wednesday nights on it, then people that come and watch the show after we're off.
Let's see.
they'll
This
kind
is
of
what I
take a look
put.
at it.
This is what I put. Wednesday night live. https://www.youtube.com. Anyway,
Awesome.
There you go.
That'll work, man. You're the man.
Nothing but quality work, sir.
That's right.
I didn't. I wasn't allowed to be in these halls for no reason at all.
What's funny about it is I can't see your posts. Al.
My post?
Yeah, it didn't come through yet.
Yeah, it didn't.
Yeah, they haven't come through yet.
I don't want to disturb.
Yeah, we can't see your posts.
No, it's not there.
There it is again.
No, it's not on YouTube.
Are you making them on YouTube?
Yeah.
Not
I
showing
know
up.
my YouTube page is frozen too.
They're not showing up.
Let me see the snowman, Jim.
Bring me one of the signs.
Snowman.
No joy.
Okay, guys, sorry. I was probably gone longer than
Sweet.
I should have been.
Yeah. Holly Denny made me that for my Air Force
Nope,
thing.
none of your posts are showing up, Al.
They're on to you, buddy.
Blocky, Russ?
No. Actually, that's funny because nothing that you're doing is showing up over there.
That's weird. And I'm seeing it.
Okay, so it doesn't look like it. My video is refreshing on YouTube. Oh, there it is. You have a pretty good delay there.
Yeah, there's quite a delay.
Yeah, there's a delay.
Okay.
So is it coming through now?
Nope.
Keep
I'm
working
looking at my big screen, and that delay I'm watching still last week's.
If you put it over on the inside chat, I'll post it, Al.
What?
That's pretty funny.
What'd you say, Paul?
I said, if you put it on the inside chat, I'll just copy it and post it.
Yeah, even people in the chat are saying no post from Al.
That's a good sound effect right there.
Yeah, that sounded like the haunted house.
Here it is. Here it is. Yeah, I put it in there multiple times, in fact. But you know what? The restream, I don't see it. I don't see it out there either on Twitch.
Al has entered the twilight zone.
There, I posted
Okay.
it.
Now I did say hello everyone on Twitch. Let's see if it comes through on
Yeah, your Twitch one came through.
Yeah, it came through our Restream bot.
Yeah, I'm probably blocked on YouTube after last Saturday.
Yeah,
I
they
wasn't
don't
here.
lie to you.
I said
I told you to keep your pants
so I
on,
couldn't
Al.
block you, so I have no clue to what you're talking about.
I don't know either.
Me neither.
All right, Darryl's back.
All right,
All
go
right,
ahead.
There's up.
Show us some of your. First off, let me get you full screen.
Okay.
I don't know how I'm going to do that. Hold on a second.
It's the button that says full screen.
Or does it say share? Share screen.
Hey,
Actually, it doesn't say full screen, smartass. It says solo layout.
That was Al.
So, all right,
It does say
There we
solo.
got him.
Remember?
you're
Remember I
full
kept
screen
saying
now,
solo?
Darryl. So
Okay.
Go ahead and show us.
All right. So one of the things I've been working on lately are making these colored pencil pendants. I tried to
that's
find
cool.
one that wasn't in a package, but I couldn't, and I didn't want to take it out. But this is the pendant here.
Oh yeah, cool idea.
And one of the things I've been working on is making packaging with my laser, right? So this is just the cardboard that they put on pallets between, like, tissue boxes or whatever. And I go to Sam's Club, and while I'm shopping, I just go and I must look like some kind of freak because I walk around and I'm pulling all this cardboard. But some days I go in there and that's all I get. I go in there and get this type of cardboard and the corrugated stuff, and I make my own boxes and packaging now. So, but these pendants, I finally got it down to a science because they seem really simple, but there's a lot of little things to successfully turn in them. And I'm thinking about doing a more detailed video after I start Patreon, something I'm also working on.
How do you keep one color from bleeding into another?
Okay, so when I turn colored pencils, well, I'll go ahead and show you the next piece, and I'll explain it at the same time. When I turn these colored pencils, what I do is I do the best I can to get as clean a cut as I can off the tool. And once I do that, then I put on 3 coats of CA glue, and then I go back and sand it. And I'll sand it until either until it's smooth enough or until it starts to bleed color. And if it starts to bleed color, then I'll clean it off and I'll put another couple of coats of CA and continue sanding it and to get rid of the tool marks. And that's how I keep it from bleeding before I finish it. But this right here is a little hollow form. It's not very big. It's maybe 6 inches total with the finial. I don't love this finial, but that's just I'm always experimenting with different things, and so that's where I ended up. And it's actually got a little bit of texturing right there around the base of the finial.
It's nice.
And a little bit of a glue inlay, or a little bit of a glitter inlay here, and there's a little bit of ebony shavings and blue glitter and a little bit of turquoise, crushed turquoise. And then it's hollowed out on the inside. And this piece is actually very cool because of the way that these pencils, when you look at it straight on, it's got that nice hexagon, but as you turn it, they kind of warp. It's got like a warp effect, which is kind of cool.
That's kind of weird because I was just going to ask you if you ever figured out a way to get that out of it. like maybe put the pencils down in some kind of a packed star pattern. And then, you know what I mean? And then when you turn them down, they might have more of a gap in between them, but they'd be more of the cross section of the pencil instead of the lengthwise.
Actually, I want more of this look.
Yeah, no, that looks cool. Yeah, don't get me wrong.
More of that look right there where they start to stretch.
Yeah,
right.
That's
this
cool.
side here reminds me of like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It looks like
It does.
all of them stacked on top of each other.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Either that
Do you have much trouble?
or your
Do you
things
have much
warping
trouble
out.
with the lead falling out?
Say again?
Do you have much trouble with the lead falling out?
No. So that's part of the some of the things that I've learned over the years doing so many pencil things. So the thing you got to remember is if you're going to do that, when you put it in a mold and you put epoxy in, what you're actually doing is you're gluing the paint to the paint. So you're gluing the paint on one pencil to the paint on the next one, right? And you're depending on the bond of the paint to the wood to hold together when you're cutting it. So what I do is I use a lot of thin CA. So as I go along, I apply thin CA as I'm cutting. So I'll put it on, I'll cut some, and I'll put some more and cut some. And basically what I'm doing is I'm reinforcing that bond between the wood and the paint, because that's where everything's going to break. In fact, let's see. This is one of the blanks for the pendants that I was making, right? And
yeah, I was going to say that must be tough to make them thin like that. That must be the hard part.
Yeah. So where it failed is that bond between the paint layers, right?
Yeah.
I'm actually, this one I could have fixed it because they're all hexagon, so I could have fixed it, but I decided not to because I'm actually gonna I'm really gonna push the envelope a little bit here, and I'm gonna try to turn this into a pendant anyway. So I'm gonna try to do that dome shape as best I can, and keep these jagged edges. And you know, I'm always up for a challenge, so you know,
Sure.
it's kind of business as usual around here. So
Cool.
To get that top like that, then do you have a knurl of some sort that you put to make that groove in that top?
oh, in the
That design, is that a knurl or something?
I use so since the last time I was on here, which is apparently about a year ago, I am now Robert Sorby's U.S. demonstrator and educator. So
cool.
I use a lot of Robert Sorby tools, and that texture is actually achieved with the Robert Sorby micro spiraling and texturing tool.
Okay, sure. If you made them any bigger, then you could set them right in your laser and do any kind of symbol on there, you know?
Yeah, but it wouldn't be the same though, because I mean, you get the texture, but you'd also have burning.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not a negative. I mean, you know, it just depends on the look you're going for, you know. But you know, everything has its place, I guess. You know, lasers and tools and whatever. You know, depending on what kind of thing it depends on, you know, what kind of look you're really going for. So, you know, and I try to explore all avenues as best I can. So,
a couple of quick questions. And Jimbo, I can pretty well answer this one, but he wants to know, do you use round pencils or flat-sided ones? And you're using the hexagon flat-sided ones, obviously, right?
Right.
Yep. The next question is, have you thought about trying to remove the paint from the pencils before you start?
No, because so actually it's easier to see it with a pendant, but I don't know that the cameras would show it, but so the areas between between the pencils, you know, it appears to have a nice dark line there, like a nice black line, line the boundary around each pencil. That's actually not true. It's actually clear epoxy. And the pencils that I use on 3 sides, they're hexagon. So on 3 sides they're black, and 3 sides they have color. So because of that, because there's so much of that black color in there, that's what gives me these nice lines. But when I make the pendants, if you hold it up to the light, you can see. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna work here, but you can see through, and you can see that there's individual pencils, because a lot of times, you know, people kind of believe that what I'm saying when I say, oh, I made this pendant out of pencils, right? And they kind of believe me, but when you hold it up to the light and you can see that they are in fact individual pendants, you know, people really dig that. So no, I wouldn't take that off.
Okay. Jeff Robinson over on Facebook says, could you turn that failed piece you just held up into a half moon?
That's kind of the effect that I'm going for, but I don't want to clean up these edges. I want to keep them like that.
Yeah, I think it looks cool. I mean, I agree with you. I think it looks cool like that, because you can, once again, actually see the individual pencils.
Right. And you know me, Russ, right? You know, I like to do like challenging stuff. So like, here, I don't know if you saw this when I was doing on Instagram, but
that's awesome.
I saw that.
Right.
Oops.
So
that's cool.
You know, this is the kind of stuff I like. I like to expose you know, whenever you turn something that has a problem like the broken pendant or like a piece like this that's got a hole all the way through it, right? You first of all, you don't really know what you're going to end up with, or if you're going to end up with anything, right? And I love stuff like this. And that pendant, you know, I don't know, maybe some more pencils will fall off. Who knows? You know,
Right.
I have no idea what it's going to look like, and I wouldn't do anything to change that broken edge.
Right.
I mean,
about what speed did you turn that open bowl at when you just showed? About what speed are you turning that at?
I turn everything fast, so I'm willing to bet by the time I got up to by the time I got it trued up, well, as trued up as you can get it, I was probably up near like 1300.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been turning things fast now because when I'm out on the road and I'm doing demos and shows and things, you know, especially like symposiums, the way it works, if you've never been, is at the symposium, the headlining turners, right? They do what's called rotation. So they'll do a number of classes throughout the day. So what happens is most of the participants are in classes for several hours at a time, and then they get like a half-hour, 45-minute break in between classes, and they come to the vendor area, and that's when I do my demo. So I don't have a whole lot of time, so I have to be very efficient with my cuts and things like that, so that if somebody comes out of a rotation and they're interested in a particular tool and they want to know how it works, I need to be able to do that. I need to be able to do that as efficiently as possible, you know, while still showing, you know, a nice quality cut. And the best way to do that is to turn fast.
Right.
So I got a couple more pieces to show you guys.
Cool. Come on, bring them on.
Well, before I get into that, so I did an event at Maker. I did a Maker event at the Orlando Science Center today, actually, and it was kind of like last minute, and but I had a lot of fun. And when I was headed out there, I decided to make these little ornaments so that I could sell them for $1, cut on the laser, and the kids. And I took a bunch of markers so the kids could color them in. And this was one of the designs. I actually made a dressed out woodshop one with a little Santa Claus hat. So
I like it. And that's an ornament too, right?
Yeah. And I have a few left over, so I might do a giveaway or something on Instagram. And this is the other one I did.
Oh, that's cool.
And the kids, you know, they had a ball. I mean, there must have been, I think I took 20 of each, and I think I only have 2 of these left. And all these kids and even some adults would come by and they color these things. It was awesome. My wife and I, we took pictures of pretty much every single one of them that was colored at the show. And I'm gonna put it together in like a little video and post it in the next couple of days. And like I was saying before, you guys that follow me know that I really like turning Christmas ornaments, right? Hollow Christmas ornaments. And this one is my favorite this year, I think.
Oh wow,
that's sweet.
Wow.
This is zebra wood.
Yep.
And either
nice.
zebra or marble.
Oh, that's nice.
And the finial is actually dyed maple. So it's like a dark vintage maple dye, I think it is, from Transtent.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
And this
nice.
comes with 2. So I'm texturing the globe.
Right.
And what I did is I dyed it red. I textured it, dyed it red, and then I applied a gold embellishing wax. And then once I got the wax on, I went back with a stiff nylon brush and I brushed it to kind of give it that look like, you know, this has been in the family a long time. You put it on the tree, taking it out, put it away, and you've lost some of the gold and it's starting to show the undercoating. And I even distressed the finial a little bit. So I was going for like things. So
That's good.
Boy, I hope my wife doesn't see those.
and
I'll be out in the garage.
this year I turned them so thin that the average ornament this year weighed about 1.3 ounces.
Holy crap.
How many years you been turning, Darryl?
Let's see. I've been turning in earnest probably about 5 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is one of my segmented pieces that I use the wedgie sled for.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's beautiful.
Now, is that what kind of finish is that on there?
CA.
That's a CA finish.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you
Darryl,
buy
did
CA by the gallon? Or
I'm sorry?
do you buy CA by the gallon?
No, I get it by the pint.
Okay, well, still, it's good size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this takes about a quarter of one of the small bottles to finish something this size.
Sweet.
So
Darryl, before you got into turning a lot, did you have one thing that you like to do more than other things, and you were kind of involved with that more than other stuff, or did it just pop up and you saw it, did it, and that was it?
So I really like making boxes. I still do. Making jewelry boxes and humidors and those kinds of things, fine boxes. And I like making furniture as well. But I was doing that for a long time, and I work for the school board. I'm the one of the techs at the local school board. And I walked into a classroom, and this one guy who's a good friend of mine now, he's teaching history, and he had these Native American flutes on the wall. And I was like, man, those are cool. He goes, yeah, I took those. And he asked me if I'd ever turned, and at the time I didn't have a lathe, and it looked super expensive and super scary, and so I didn't, I just didn't bother. And he's like, well, have you ever tried it? I was like, no, and I'd like to one day, but I don't have the money to buy a lathe. So a couple weeks later, he gave me a lathe and some tools, and then he gave me a couple of lessons, and I did a few things at that time. That was like 8 years ago. And I'd made a couple of bowls, but I wasn't making the progress I wanted to, and the lathe was really limited. And then when they opened the Rockler in Altamont, I went for the grand opening, and the Nova rep was there. And so I was like, hey, so since you're here, that means I'm getting a deal, right, if I buy today? So they gave me some extra stuff, and I bought a Comet. And I've been turning and turning since then. And the thing I loved about it at first, the initial draw, was the fact that I can come out to the shop and I can spend several hours and I can turn out like a project. If you're doing boxes and furniture, sure, you could turn something out in a couple hours, but it's not like a wow piece. It's not like it's different. In a couple of hours of regular woodworking in general for fine boxes and furniture, you're not turning out any masterpieces. But
Right.
you can.
Well, any questions over the chat?
I did have one more piece I want to share though, and that's after that.
Go ahead.
This is my favorite thing I've made to date.
Wow.
I wonder why.
Wow.
Holy shnikes.
Yeah, that's sharp.
Man.
What kind of wood is the bottom part, the bowl part?
This is maple that came down during Hurricane Irma in my neighborhood.
Oh, wow. That's the good kind of wood. It was free.
Yeah. And one of the things about this piece is that this is not only is it one of my favorite pieces, but this is so indicative of me as a woodturner, right? Because I don't plan things, right? So when I want to explain a piece that I make, I always have to do it from the end. I have to complete it first, then I can go back and explain it. And basically what happened with this is you'll notice that, see, the top is fairly bland of the wood on the base, and the bottom super interesting, right? So originally this was going to be a bowl, but I had done the outside and I got the bowl shape going, and I was like, you know what? I wonder, I want to try one of those UFO shaped hollow forms. So I tried. So I tried that, and it was cool and I liked it, but the problem was that all the interest was on the bottom, and the top was pretty dull. So I have these little solo cups full of epoxy, and I took this one piece and I put a bigger piece on there. It was actually like half an inch. It was probably 3/4 of an inch tall, and my original intent was for that to be the transition to the finial, but I didn't like it because it looked too plasticky, right? So I kept cutting on it, and I decided to just cut it down low. So I cut it low, and then I decided to put this. There's a little bit of ash right there, veneer.
Yeah.
And I had this mahogany and ash segmented ring that's actually segmented from another project. So I decided to put that on, and I wanted that ash to be like just a line. So when you look at the profile, you would see it, but you wouldn't necessarily see it from the top. But for whatever reason, I couldn't trim this right, and it kept leaving a little bit of the ash out. So I decided to just clean up the edge and let it show, which is now one of my favorite features there. And then I shaped the segmented ring, and this is the second finial that I put on this because the other one, the proportions weren't right. It just didn't feel right to me. So I went back and I remade it out of, and this is Burmese blackwood for the finial. And that's really how this piece came to be. And I think it speaks volumes about me as a wood turner, because this is very indicative of the way that I work.
Right. Looks good. Sharp.
Thank you.
Lady Frenzy Wicked Truth asked a question way back, and it's a long question, so pay attention. She says, what was your biggest failure when you were pencil crafting? How did you feel about it? And did you eventually prevail and get it to work just the way you wanted?
Okay. So when I'm working with the pencils, one of the first things I did was I was making pencils, like pens. I was making writing pens with it. And it's tough because, when you're making a pen, you don't leave very much material outside the, around the tube anyway.
Nope.
And so that's not a lot of surface area. And like I talked about before with the paint failures and everything, that was a big problem. So things would fly off of there and get broken. That was one of the biggest things. When I figured out, when it finally occurred to me, which may sound basic, elementary to everybody else, but when I finally realized that the epoxy is actually gluing the paint to the paint, that was the biggest revelation for me, and that was how I was able to turn things around. Now, prior to that, I would just clean the entire area around the lathe before I started, and so that I could pick up the pieces that flew off and put them back. And it was nice. They have like consistent shapes, either it's a round pencil or it's a hexagon. So you can put it back if you can find it.
Right.
I'm not sure if that answered her question, but I feel like that probably touched on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Darryl, Aussie Man wants to know, which tools do you prefer, carbide, traditional, or a combination of the two?
I'm definitely a hybrid guy. I'm very much so a person who believes that the right tool for the job is the job that works best for you.
What do you use to sharpen your tools?
This is the this is the Robert Sorby Pro Edge. It's a grinding belt, it's a sanding belt. I had a wood, what do you call it? A Wolverine with the CBN wheels, and it was fine. But when I signed on with Sorby, they sent me this. And in hindsight, if I had known about this thing, I'd have never done anything else, because this works, in my opinion, this works better than anything I've used thus far. And I've tried the Tormek, I've tried the Wolverine, I've tried several other things, but this thing is hands down best thing I ever used.
And so you're freehand sharpening on that, right?
No, it has a series of it has quite a few jigs. Like, I don't know how well you can see it, but this right here is the
hold on, give me 1 second and I'll make you slow load, then we can see it. All right, go ahead now.
Hold on, let me just, this will be better. I gotta fish it out. Hang on.
No, see, he can do that.
Don't have a seizure while I'm doing this.
Yeah, don't seize.
Not
All right.
gonna bring you
So I'm
Getting
free now.
seasick.
So this is the system here. It'll focus in a minute. All right. And these are the accessories. All right.
And actually, there's one more, which is this, which sets your protrusion, right? So what I do is I put when I'm doing my gouges, this looks very similar to, the Tormek. This looks very similar to the Tormek thing because Tormek designed it, the original anyway. And so I put it put my tool in here, and I set the protrusion with that gauge, and then I use this. Oops. All right, and I put it on this bar right here, and then I can put it in. Well, this comes off. I'm kind of showing this, kind of bass backwards here. So bear with me. So, and I made this thing on the wall up here to store all the accessories because I use this all the time and I want to have easy access to it. So everything has a spot up here.
Now, what grip belt is on that?
I'm sorry?
What grip belt is on that?
Say again?
What
grip belt is on that?
So right now, this is a 120.
Okay.
And that's the only one I really use. I have a 1200. Let's see. I have a 1200 Trizac, and I think this is a 60. And I think the other two are just different materials, different types of belts. Wait, hang on.
But you don't think you really need that? Just the 120?
No, actually, I use the 60 pretty regular. So, like, if I buy a used tool and, the grind on it's no good, then I can use this to fix it really quickly, right? So one of the things that I love about two things that right off the top, there's several things, but two things that I love about this system, right? Three things. Number one.
Sounds like Spanish Inquisition.
Well, number one, I can put different grits on here. Like with the Wolverine jig, I had two, right? I had I think I had a 220 and a 80, right? But if I wanted a different grit for whatever reason, I'd have to change a wheel, and they're super expensive. With this, I just release the tension right here, take this cover off, I can slide that off, I can change it out, and I can have several different ones. But more importantly than that is this thing, the platform, right? It has on the side here, there's all these different holes, okay? And then on the front there's a map that tells you what angle this is. And if you've ever tried to sharpen anything on a platform with the Wolverine, I'm sure you're sick and tired of coloring your edges with Sharpies to try to get back to it. This right here, it's the same every single time, right? And then the other thing I like about it is if I need to reshape a grind, I can just put this on here and I can set the angle, and I can actually do the wing angle first and then the nose, and then I can do everything on this one machine. Where before I had to use like an angle grinder, like a strip sander or something to do the top wing, because the Wolverine will put a hollow grind on it, and that's no good. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's that. And then I'll put this back so I can stop, shaking all over the place. Oops. That's not a great deal. I'll put that back.
Patrick's Workshop's out there in the chat. Hello, Patrick.
Can we talk about tools a little bit after you catch up with the chat there, Russ?
Yeah, Driveway Workshop. What'd you say? You printed a bunch of tool holders from Ken Moon to do his sharpening with?
Ken's got a sharpening system, and he wanted to kind of jury rig some stuff in it. So he found some attachments and stuff on Thingiverse and said, "Hey, can you print these off for me?" And I guess he holds a chisel with them, and you know how it is. You get the chisel in, you want it at the same point every time and stuff. But these would hold them at different angles. So he said they work great. So it was a lot cheaper going out and buying this like the $400 worth of heavy duty stuff.
Cool. Old Path's out there. Chris Nealon is out there. Patrick's Workshop has joined us.
Patrick.
They're all a day late and a dollar short.
The Patricks.
Aussie Man wants to know what kind of a hollowing system do you use?
I use a variety of things. It depends on what I'm doing. When I do the Christmas ornaments, I use the Easy Wood hollowers, primarily the number 3 hollower. When I do deeper vessels, I have several tools from Robert Storby that I use, and I also have, I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can kind of see it in the shot. The red bar up there is the Harrison Specialties articulated arm hollowing system, and I use that from time to time too. So remember, I'm the guy that, I believe that the best tool is the most efficient one.
A bunch of crooked ones?
That's most efficient, absolutely. So, oh, by the way, Russ, I just wanted to toss out there another thing that's new is I was doing really good with my Dreadnought Woodshop business, teaching and demonstrating and all that up until March when the shutdown happened. So I've had to make some pivots in my business, right? And one of the pivots that I've made is I started doing Zoom demonstrations for clubs and things. I've done a demonstration for 2 clubs in Texas and a couple clubs here in around Florida. And so I've actually gotten pretty adept at that. So if one of these Saturdays you want, I could do a demo for your show if you like, because I have.
Oh, I'd love that.
I have I got like a 3-camera setup that I use, and I'm getting, not to toot my own horn, but I'm getting pretty good at it. So
yeah, cool. I'd love to do that. But only thing is I don't use Zoom anymore.
I don't need to use Zoom.
Okay.
Because I use OBS and I output all of my video to a virtual cam. So on my computer, it just shows up like the output shows up just like any webcam. So I can output that. I can output the setup that I use to anything, Zoom, any meeting, whatever it is that you're using, YouTube, whatever. It's the same thing that I use for my YouTube. When you watch my YouTube live, I use that same 3-camera setup, and I have one camera that shows from overhead on the lathe, and then I have one at the tail end of the lathe that has a pretty decent zoom so that I can keep it out of my way, but I can get a pretty tight shot on what I'm doing when I'm working on the end of the workpiece. And then I have this camera that I use to address the audience. So if I'm going to talk to them directly, that's what I do.
Yeah, probably after the first of the year, I'd love to do it.
Okay.
Yep.
And Chad and I are also going to be, man, I'm just like, it sounds ridiculous how much stuff I keep saying, but Chad Grossclaws and I'm letting the cat out of the bag. We've made a date to start a podcast again.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's about all. Go ahead. What did you want to ask him about the tools?
Well, I did. Oh God, come on, memory. Oh, scrapers.
Okay.
So I've got the decent tools I've got. I mean, when I got my lathe, I got the big one at Harbor Freight, and I started off with the little box of POS turning tools that you can get at Harbor Freight, and a couple of them aren't bad. But then I started getting the stuff from Easy Wood Tools.
Okay.
The 3 basic ones. So I've got the round, square, and the diamond shape, tools. And then I've got some other ones that are carbide, but they're smaller versions of the Easy Wood Tools things. But I need to get like a scraper and stuff like that, but I don't really know what kind to get. I've got I think it's like a 3/8 inch bowl gouge. But man, I really need a scraper because I got to be able to get in there and dig around with stuff that I can't do with the carbide.
Okay.
Back to you, Darryl.
So these are my two Robert Sorby ones. And the thing about these that make them great is how thick they are. I don't know how well that translates on video, but these are pretty thick, right?
That's thick.
Hold them up. Hold them up one more time. I'm gonna go back to solo layout. So yeah,
these
those
are
they got to be what,
pretty,
half inch or more.
Yeah.
This one is probably this is a little more than 3/8, and this is a little less.
Okay.
I mean, these are thick. These are thick blades, and this is really good because don't take off the solo yet because I'm gonna get another one and show you. But these
what type
you
of
want. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I apologize. What type of steel are those?
These are high-speed steel.
High-speed steel.
Yeah. This is the Sheffield steel from England, that kind of thing. And these what you want is you want a big scraper. You want it to have as thick a bar as you can get. The thicker the bar gets, the more expensive it's going to be. That's just just the way things are. More steel, more money. And these two are not especially. I mean, they're a good price for what you're getting. A great price for what you're getting, but they are expensive. So I'm going to show you an alternative that you can get that's more affordable that works super well. So these, let's see. Oh, sorry, they're on the other thing. I'll be right back. Got to go to the other side.
I'll laugh if he comes back with a crowbar or something like that. This is even better here.
No, he comes back with a machete.
Yeah, exactly.
This was
so these are the Hurricane from Amazon, right? These are pretty good size too. And there was a time, right, when you could go on Amazon and you can get the set for like $60. But I think it's gone up to about $100. But that's still a really good price because these are about 1.5 inches wide and probably about as thick as the thinner blade that I just showed you. And these are excellent scrapers.
So I've got a question.
What's that?
You're saying it's a scraper. I'm a turning noob, if even that. But how do you use those? I mean, I know the wood turns, and you set it up on the holder. How do you use those?
Okay, so a scraper cuts with a burr, right? So what you want to do is you want to set this, all right, so that let me get a piece of wood. It'd be easier. All right. So this is my piece of wood here. I wouldn't normally use it on ingrain, but I'm gonna do it that way so I can make a point. So let's just say that this is center, right? Okay. So what I want to do is, when I'm setting this up, I want to set the tool level to the floor, just north, slightly north of center. Okay. And then I want to angle the tool, the nose of the tool down just a little to cut to center.
Okay.
That's how you use it. And this thing will do an excellent job of, if you have ridges, like you're doing a bowl inside or outside, and you got the cut kind of like where you want it, but you got these ridges that are really hard to sand out. These are excellent for that, for fairing those curves. And the reason why these have curves on them is because this is your interior. This is the one that you use for the interior. So this one, this one's curved that way so that you can work inside the bowl. Okay.
Nice.
And this one is set up to go outside, so you can work. I don't know how to. It's hard to show this, but so that you can work this way, so that when you get back to here, you have this straight edge, so you're not running into the chuck, and you can work that external curve.
Wow, them things are huge. I'll bet I could even butter my toast with them things.
Really big toast.
Yeah,
but these are like $100 though.
These are it's Chinese steel, but I have to tell you, I've used several of the Hurricanes and the Savannahs, and there's several different companies that make them depending on where you get them from. Peachtree Supply, they're going to have the Savannah tools. Amazon's going to have Hurricane. There's a couple others, but these are actually really good tools, and I like using them. I primarily use the Sorby now because of my affiliation with them. But I don't have any gripes against this tool, and I have zero issues recommending it. And you will not be sorry. It is an excellent piece of equipment.
Okay.
For the money.
And there you have it.
Okay, one more. While we've got him here, and I could pick his brain. If you had to upgrade from the big Harbor Freight lathe into a new lathe, what would you go for?
Okay, so first of all, what size lathe are we talking about? Are you looking to go with a freestanding unit, or are you looking to go with like a MIDI? Did I drop out?
Nope. He's standing there trying to figure out what he's talking about. Jim, he asked you a question.
No, it was pixelated and everything blacked out for a second, so I'll have to repeat it. Sorry.
Okay. So the first thing I got to ask is what format you're talking about? Are you talking about a freestanding lathe, like a mid
Yes.
Mid to full, or are you talking about a bench top?
Freestanding.
Okay. So if you're going to go on the low end of the spectrum, cost wise, the Nova 1624 is excellent because you can buy at a later date, you can buy the DVR upgrade and you can get the variable speed and all the other features that go with that. If the cost isn't really your issue, I really like the Nova DVR products. I think they're excellent lathes, and you have the advantage to those is you have the full spectrum of torque and speed available via a knob. There's no belts whatsoever. So at every single speed, you have the maximum amount of torque. Whereas every other lathe on the market, including the big ones, Powermatic and Robust and all that, when you're on the low side, the speeds don't go very high, but you have the maximum torque. And on the high side, it's the opposite. It's the opposite. You get more speed, no torque, and then more torque and less speed. You don't have to make that compromise. But as far as big lathes go, I recently upgraded or made a segue into a Powermatic, right? So I have the Powermatic 3520C. I like it too, but I still really like the DVR product. The only reason I went to this is because Nova doesn't make one with a big enough swing.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. And I didn't get paid for that. That's my honest opinion.
Well, you got paid as much as we do here from Russ. So
Luana Pierce says to me, Simply Wooden Creations, good show. Happy holidays to you. Thank you, Luana. I appreciate it very much. We try to have good shows. Sometimes they are not as good as others, but it's actually become harder and harder to find people to come on the show. I don't know if it's been the COVID thing that's caused that this year or what, but yeah, it's hard to find people to come on to the show. It's used to be they would beg to come on, and now it's like, and I'd have to fight them off with a stick, but now it's like I have to beg them.
Oh, come on, you're being modest. I begged you to come on the show.
Yeah.
I do want to add, it is really good when we have a guest, because that actually gives other information than just seeing all these ugly mugs here.
Yeah, no, we love to have guests and have them explain a lot of stuff, because each guest has their own finesse and their own speciality, so to speak. So, it really helps. Just like Jim describing all those scrapers. I mean, that's a wealth of information right there. So I think we're going to pretty well call it. It's a little after 9. I know. If you haven't already, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Yep, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell at the top so that you will be informed whenever we have shows.
Okay, Russ.
Things you need to do. Subscribe, bell, and thumbs up.
Okay, Frenzy Wicked Truth just threw the gauntlet down to you.
What'd she say?
She said she'd come on the show, but she doesn't think we could handle it.
She don't think we can handle it, huh?
I don't think you could handle it.
Aussie Man wants to know what was the first scrapers he showed. No, the first scrapers he showed was Robert Zorby, right?
Yes.
And you can find them on robertzorby.com.
Well, you have to. Robert Sorby doesn't sell anything direct. They don't sell direct to the public, but you can find them. The best prices I found are Hartville Tools in Hartville Hardware in Ohio, and Taylor Tools. And you can find Taylor Tools at taytools.com.
Okay. So those were the first.
For that either. They just got really good prices.
Yeah, the second set he showed was the Hurricane, and those came from Amazon.
Right.
I think I'm going to try those.
The two from Robert Sorby are the thinner one was the heavy duty, and then the thicker one is the extra heavy duty.
Leonard Davis says, great show, Darryl. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So
Leonard would also like to know what his worst accident turning was.
Yeah, what's your worst accident turning?
I don't know if it was the worst because I have a few, but one time I had this bowl and it was huge. You know, it was like 14 inches in diameter, and it had a hole in one side big enough to put my fist through and move it around. And it was punky as all get out. And so I had turned it a little bit, but it was real frustrating because it was hard to get a good finish on it. So I set it aside. And when I put it back on the lathe, you know, I knew better. I should have put it on and, you know, turned it on and then ramped the speed up slowly. But I was like, what the heck? So I turned it on, and I turned it on at 1200 RPM, and it started to spin up, and it started to sound funny. And just as I went to hit the button, it literally exploded. I mean, it was like an explosion.
Wow.
Here, and it threw a good sized chunk of it 30 feet across the shop. It just so happened I was at the control panel, so I was out of the line of fire. But that was okay, Darryl. It's time to quit screwing around out here and turn the lights off and on in the house. It was one of those.
Really.
That's when you take a break.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you all for being here, and thank you all for watching. I appreciate it so very, 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 very much. James Parker still out there, Aussie Man. Some of the regulars is here every week. Leonard Davis. All those people are still out there.
Is there a show next week?
I was going to just fixing to say that. Are any of y'all going to be available on the next Saturday?
I will.
Sure.
I think so.
Yeah, it's the 26th.
I'm not 100% sure. Let me think about it, because that's the day after Christmas. And let me tell you, usually on that Saturday, I'm pooped because we have all the kids come over and everything, and we cook, and it's just a long, big day. And by the time I get in bed at night, I am so wore out. So which Christmas is Friday. So let me think on it a little bit. But yes, I was thinking about having a show next Saturday night. So
cool.
And I wanted to also make sure there was enough people that were going to be here to make it worthwhile. So Jeff Robinson wants to know, Darryl, will you be going back to Waco, Texas this year?
If they'll have me, I will be.
Actually, it'd be 2021, by the way. It wouldn't be this year.
So I do, like I said, I'm Sorby's U.S. demonstrator. So pretty much, most of the big symposiums, I'll definitely be there if they're having them.
Okay.
So come look for me.
Cool. All right. That's about it. Once again, thank you, Darryl, for being here. I appreciate it very, very much. Thank you, Paul, Chris, Jim, Dixon, and Al. And Al, your problem the reason that you're not being able to do anything out there is your moderator is the Kilroy's Odessa Woodworking Maker Shop, Al. You're logged in as Kilroy 79763. So therefore,
Well, this is just the name. This is just the name.
Well, I don't understand that because I look back and you're still logged in as a moderator, but as that name.
See, I'm now Russ.
Yeah, but I'm just saying you're logged in as that, so I don't know what the problem is.
Yeah, no, I'm logged in as Designated Green Maker Shop Editor because I even logged in as another account, Al Forte over there. And I was able to
I don't
talk.
know what the problem is because I looked and you're still logged in as a moderator. So I don't know what the problem is. Maybe it has something to do with you remember when your audio was going bad and you had to reboot or log back in? Maybe that had something to do with it.
Could be, but that's YouTube. See, that's on YouTube. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Got me.
I don't know.
Got me.
I don't know. All right, guys. There's only one thing we got left to do, and that is if you're too darn busy to get out in your shop and make some sawdust, you're just too darn busy. Just give me sawdust, lots of sawdust all around me and everywhere. I like it flying all around my shop and even in my beard and hair. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! We'll see y'all probably next Saturday, but I'll make sure I post in plenty of time for you to know. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Remember, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
What he said.
Yeah,
What I said.
What he
See
said.
ya.